Next concept is NPA. NPA. What is NPA? Non-performing asset. NPA, non-performing asset. One of the most important problems faced by all the public sector commercial bank in India is NPA, non-performing asset. And you must also remember that this is not a problem to the private commercial banks. Non-performing asset or NPA is not a problem we find to the private sector commercial bank. Only in case of the public sector commercial bank we find increasing non-performing asset, a headache problem today to the entire public sector commercial banks in India. All the public sector commercial bank in India is now facing the severe problem of non-performing asset. When the commercial bank is preparing their portfolio balance sheet, when the balance sheet, annual balance sheet or portfolio is prepared by the commercial bank, there are two sides in the balance sheet. The two sides in the balance sheet are asset and liability. Asset and liability are the two sides of the portfolio or balance sheet of a commercial bank. What do we mean by asset? What the commercial bank owns. What the commercial bank owns is called asset, and what the commercial bank owes is known as liability, debt. What it owes is known as liability, and what it owns is known as asset. In that respect, a deposit received by a commercial bank is coming under the asset side or liability side. Deposit that is received by the commercial bank is included under the asset or under the liability side. It is a liability. Why deposits come under the liability side of the balance sheet of the commercial bank? Because at any time the deposit may be withdrawn by the individual customer, and it is a responsibility of the commercial bank that on demand the amount should be paid. On demand the amount should be paid by the commercial bank, so that every deposit received by the commercial bank create a liability to the commercial bank for return on demand. On demand the amount should be returned. So every deposit is supposed to be a liability on the part of the commercial bank. On the other hand, a commercial bank is giving a loan. Commercial bank is giving a loan to a customer. That is an asset to the commercial bank. Loan lent out by the commercial bank is an asset to the commercial bank. In what sense? That is the complete amount as well as the rate of interest according to the terms and conditions will be returned. It is supposed that the entire amount with the stipulated rate of interest shall be returned by the customer. But it is sure that liability, it is not a liability, but it is an asset to the commercial bank. Which is an asset? Deposit. Loan. All loans lent by the commercial bank to the commercial bank, it is a asset, because the entire amount will come back with additional rate of interest. So every loan is a asset to the commercial bank, and every deposit is a liability to the commercial bank. But we see that today the persons take, customers take huge amount of loan from the public sector commercial bank, crores and crores, according to their influence, political influence. According to their political influence, we find that public sector commercial bank grant huge amount, crores and crores of loan to the big industrial concerns through their political influence, and so that after taking a loan they are skulking they are not giving back the amount, installment by way of installment, they are not giving, interest is also not paid. After getting this loan, they are evading from the repayment of the loan. Repayment is very rare in case of the public sector commercial bank. But the private sector commercial bank have their own method for recouping the loan amount with interest. They know. They may show sometimes gundaism also to seize that amount. To seize that amount, they may take any type of activities. So, private sector may not find such a increasing NPA a problem to the private sector banks. No. It is usually public sector commercial bank do find such a problem, that huge amount of loan given to especially big commercial and industrial concerns not returned to the bank. It is not returned. So that bad asset, loan is an asset, I have already mentioned, loan is an asset, the asset become bad. Asset become bad to the commercial bank as it is not repaid by the customer according to the terms and conditions. According to the terms and conditions, the amount is not repaid, and so that we find bad debts of the commercial bank, bad assets of the commercial bank are increasing, especially in the public sector. So that bad assets are what is known as NPA, non-performing asset. Non-performing asset. But to designate an asset as a non-performing asset, the definition or what is required is that after the due date, for every loan there will be a due date. After the due date, 90 days would have passed without any payment, either installment, principal amount or interest. For 90 days after the due days. After the due days, 90 days is over, no part of the principal and no part of the interest is paid back by the customer. If so, after 90 days, that loan is designated as NPA, non-performing assets. About minimum, how many days is required? 90 days. 90 days commercial bank will wait. Whether the man is coming back and paying the interest, at least the interest or a small amount of the principal, whether he is giving or not. Wait for 90 days. And during this period of 90 days after the repayment due date, if he is not turning, that asset is designated as a NPA, non-performing asset. In multiple choice question also it can be asked. 90 days. 90 days after the due date, it is known as a NPA, non-performing asset. Then, after declaration of the bad asset as a NPA, 1 year is over. 1 year, 12 months is over. After declaration of a bad asset as NPA. After declaration as NPA, 1 year is over. Again waiting for 1 year. 1 year wait. No answer. The man is not coming. The bank is repeatedly sending a reminder notice, is not coming. Then it is designated as a substandard asset. Substandard asset, which is designated as a substandard asset, NBA. NBA is now designated as a substandard asset. In order to designate NBA as a substandard asset, how many time period is allowed? 1 year, 12 months time period after declaration of the bad asset as NBA. After declaration of the bad asset as NBA, 1 year. If or it is designated as substandard asset. Then after declaration of the bad asset as a substandard asset, again the man is not returning no part of interest or no part of the principal amount is paid for 1 year. After declaration as a substandard, again after 12 months it is designated as doubtful asset. It is designated as doubtful asset. Doubtful asset means it is very doubtful that he may come and repay the amount. He may not come. Such a doubt is arising. It become a doubtful asset. After 1 year under substandard category. Under substandard category, 1 year is over. After that, it is known as a doubtful asset. After declaration of a doubtful asset also, 12 months over suppose, 1 year is over, 12 months, 1 year over after declaration of the asset as a doubtful asset. It is sure that he will never come back, and so we designate as loss asset. Kittakadam. Loss asset. Loss asset. And the government or the Reserve Bank have no action to write off that amount. It is supposed to be a loss asset. Kittakadam. It is designated as a loss asset only after all this process is over. Waiting a long time. About 90 days wait after due date. Declare as NBA. Wait for another 1 year. Declare as substandard asset. Wait for 1 year again under the substandard. Declare doubtful asset. After 1 year, declare loss asset. It is supposed to be a loss asset. There is no chance of it. And you see that the total amount of the bad assets to a commercial bank at present is so huge an amount that RBI as well as government have taken few steps for the clearings of non-performing asset, at least to minimize and help the public sector commercial bank from the loss assessed. Minimize or to reduce the non-performing asset to a public sector commercial bank, many programs and policies both RBI as well as the government of India have already taken. So we may take in outline what are the most important steps taken by the Reserve Bank of India to clear the NPA or to minimize the NPA problem of public sector commercial bank. What are the most important? Most important, just a definition, and what are the policy measures for multiple choice question basis. Only just a program wise we may analyze the policy measures adopted by the Reserve Bank of India to reduce or minimize the bad assets of a public sector commercial bank. Number one, first, 5/25. 5/25 refinancing of infrastructure scheme. 5/25 refinancing of infrastructure scheme. 5/25 refinancing infrastructure scheme. A scheme adopted by the RBI scheme. 5/25 refinancing scheme. Now, in order to reduce or minimize the NPA, permission allowed by the Reserve Bank of India to a commercial bank to extend the loan due date. That is the easiest method. Especially you see that small amount agricultural loan, farmers, they are sometimes actually unable to repay that amount. In such cases, on due date, another 1 more year may be extended by the commercial bank. 1 year extension may be given. But in certain cases, crores and crores of rupees purposefully taken and purposefully not repaid. That is a habit among the very rich business personnel today. Purposefully they are taking They are taking very huge amount, crores and crores amount from the commercial bank, and they are able to repay. They are able to repay, but they will not purposefully repay. They may have sometimes political support also. They may have political support also, and so that from the part of government or politician there is no steps taken for recouping the loss amount. Is permitted. In many cases, very large amount are. And in such cases, very large amount, up to 25 years extension can be given. Because the amount is very huge, crores and crores amount rupee that is taken by way of loan, which require a long period for its repayment. About one by n. In short, we find that extension of due date can be increased up to a maximum of 25 years. Permitted. Public sector commercial banks are permitted by the Reserve Bank of India to extend the due date of loans, especially of big loans, with every 5 years an alteration in the rate of interest. Every 5 years there can be an alteration in the rate of interest, because suppose rate of interest 10% rate of interest was fixed some 5 years back. 5 years back 10% was the rate of interest fixed. Now in the market rate of interest may be high, and so that he should not be permitted to retain in the earlier rate of interest. A higher rate of interest can be fixed every 5 years. Every 5 years there shall be a revision of the rate of interest, and up to maximum 25 years extension can be given in big loan amount. A permission that is given by the Reserve Bank of India to public sector commercial bank, at least to escape from the bad asset in public sector commercial. അതൊന്ന് കുറയ്ക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതേ ഉള്ളൂ ഉദ്ദേശം. Just to reduce and minimize the non-performing asset amount with a public sector commercial bank 5/25 scheme. അതായത് extension can be allowed in very huge amount up to a maximum of 25 years, with every 5 years a revision of the rate of interest, in order to give a chance for the repayment of the amount. But even after that, you find that they are escaping, they will never pay that loan amount. So that is 5/25. Next one is park, number 2. PARC, park. Next method is what is called park, private asset reconstruction company. Private asset reconstruction company. Private asset reconstruction companies. Private asset reconstruction company. That means private sectors can establish asset reconstruction company and buy the bad assets of the commercial banks at a price. At a price, the bad assets of the commercial bank can be purchased by the private asset reconstruction company. A company can be formulated by the private sector. The private sector can start a company type of organization, and the intention of the company is to buy the bad assets of the commercial bank, maintained with them while granting a loan to the individual. While granting a loan to the individual, some asset might have received. And by purchasing the bad asset by the private asset reconstruction company, at least a relaxation can be allowed to the public sector commercial bank. So permission given by the Reserve Bank of India to establish what is called PARC, private asset reconstruction company. PARC, private asset reconstruction company. And you know that on the basis of the PARC, about 21 private asset reconstruction company established in India by the private individuals. Private individuals established asset reconstruction company, 21 number, very 21 number. But the practice of this company was that, while purchasing the bad assets of the public sector commercial bank, 5% of that total amount cash will be readily given. 5%. 5% of the total asset received by the private asset reconstruction company from the commercial bank is given in cash. 5% കൊടുക്കും. Balance 95% of which a receipt is given. ഒരു receipt seal ചെയ്ത് കൊടുക്കും. For the balance 95%. അപ്പോൾ 5% amount initial cash the commercial bank will get. Though it is a very loss, though it is only a very small amount, commercial bank will accept that 5% because they know already it is a loss amount. Already that asset is declared as a loss amount. കിട്ടുന്നത് കിട്ടട്ടെ. On that basis, 5%, 5%, 20%, 20%. They will accept the 5% amount, and for the balance 95% a receipt is accepted and kept, and the receipt will not be repaid by the private asset reconstruction. അവരും അത് കൊണ്ടുപോകും. അപ്പോൾ you see that the private asset reconstruction company was not successful. It was not working properly.